Deathworlder Cadet got jumped in class. She sent 4 to the Infirmary in 12 seconds. The Galactic Military Academy's Advanced Combat Theory classroom fell silent as Cadet Sarah Chen walked in, her heavy boots echoing against the polished metal floor. At barely 1.6 meters tall, she seemed insignificant compared to the towering Catharan warriors and the hulking Brutaxian soldiers that filled the amphitheater-style seating. Yet every eye followed her movement as she made her way to an empty seat in the middle section. "Another Deathworlder!" hissed Cadet Vexistar, a Catharan whose crystalline exoskeleton gleamed under the artificial lights. His mandibles clicked in what his species considered amusement. "How many of these primitives will they allow into the academy?" His companion, a Brutaxian named Gorvak, whose muscles rippled beneath his gray-green skin, rumbled his agreement. "The humans think their little rock makes them special. One high-gravity world, and they act like they're warriors." Sarah ignored the whispers, just as she'd ignored them for the past 3 months since arriving at the academy. Earth's admission to the Galactic Federation had been recent, and humanity's inclusion in the military training program was still controversial. Most species viewed Earth as a death world, a planet with conditions so harsh that only the most resilient life forms could survive. To them, this meant humans were either incredibly tough or incredibly stupid. Professor Zeltnock, a distinguished Altarian with flowing tentacles instead of hair, entered the classroom and began his lecture on battlefield tactics. Sarah took diligent notes, her enhanced reflexes allowing her to write while simultaneously tracking the movements of every being in the room. Living on Earth had taught her species to be perpetually aware of threats. Today, we'll discuss the theoretical maximum combat efficiency of various Federation species, Professor Zeltnock announced, his translator rendering his harmonic speech into standard galactic. The Kitharans, with their natural armor and blade-like appendages, rate at 7.2 on the combat scale. The Brutaxians, with their superior strength and size, rate at 8.1. A few cadets snickered when he continued. Humans, despite their Death World origins, rate only 4.3 due to their small size and lack of natural weapons. Sarah's jaw tightened, but she remained silent. She'd heard these assessments before. "Of course," the professor added almost as an afterthought, "these ratings assume optimal conditions and don't account for the unpredictable nature of Deathworlder psychology." The lecture continued for another hour. As cadets began filing out for the midday break, Sarah found herself surrounded by Vextar, Gorvak, and 2 other cadets, a serpentine Naga named Slicks, and another Catharan called Kraktin. "Deathworlder," Vextar's mandibles clicked aggressively. "You don't belong here. This academy is for real warriors, not soft mammals from some backwater rock." Sarah stood slowly, her movements deliberate and controlled. "I'm not looking for trouble." "Trouble found you," Gorvak growled, his massive fists clenching. "Time to show you what real strength looks like." The attack came from 4 directions. Simultaneously, a coordinated assault that would have overwhelmed most beings. Vextar's blade arm swept toward her throat while Gorvak's massive fist descended from above. Slicks coiled his serpentine body to strike from the left, and Kraktin lunged with his crystalline spear fingers from the right. What happened next would be analyzed in Academy tactical databases for years to come. Sarah's human nervous system, evolved under Earth's crushing gravity and constant predation, processed the multi-vector attack in milliseconds. Her adrenal glands flooded her system with hormones that would have been toxic to most species. Time seemed to slow. She dropped into a crouch, letting Gorvak's punch whistle over her head while simultaneously grabbing Vextar's blade arm. Using the Catharan's own momentum and her planet's crushing gravity training, she pivoted and hurled him into Kraktin with enough force to crack both their exoskeletons. Slicks's strike came next, his fangs seeking her exposed back. Sarah twisted impossibly fast, caught his neck in a grip that utilized leverage points unknown to most galactic species, and used a technique that Earth's military had adapted from, an ancient martial art. The Naga's consciousness fled as specific nerve clusters were compressed. Gorvak, recovering from his missed punch, swung again. Sarah stepped inside his reach, a tactic that seemed suicidal given the size difference. But her species had evolved hunting creatures far larger than themselves. She drove her knee upward, with the full force of muscles adapted to 1G gravity, striking a nerve cluster that dropped the massive Brutaxian like a felled tree. 12 seconds, 4 attackers neutralized. The few remaining cadets in the classroom stood frozen in shock. Security officers arrived to find Sarah calmly helping Slicks to his feet, while the other 3 attackers groaned on the floor. Medical scanners revealed 2 cracked exoskeletons, 1 severe concussion, and 1 case of neural shock, all non-fatal but requiring immediate treatment. Commander Thorak, the Academy's disciplinary officer, reviewed the security footage 3 times before speaking. "Cadet Chen, you were attacked by 4 opponents simultaneously." "Yes, sir." "And you neutralized all 4 in 12 seconds without sustaining injury." "Yes, sir." The Academy's combat simulators rate this scenario as impossible for a single human. Sarah's response was quiet, but carried across the silent disciplinary chamber. "Respectfully, sir, your simulators have never been to Earth." Commander Thorak studied the slight human female who stood at attention before him. Her species' combat rating of 4.3 suddenly seemed laughably inadequate. "The other cadets claim you moved with inhuman speed and possessed impossible strength. I moved normally for a human under stress, sir, and I used technique, not strength." "Technique? Deathworlders learn early that size and strength. Don't matter if you know where to apply pressure, sir. Every species has vulnerable points. Earth taught us to find them." The commander dismissed the charges of excessive force. The security footage clearly showed self-defense against coordinated assault. But he made a note in Sarah's file and sent a priority message to Federation Command. "Recommend immediate revision of human combat capabilities assessment. Current rating of 4.3 appears to be approximately 400% too low." As word spread through the Academy, Sarah noticed the change in how other cadets looked at her. The whispers continued, but they carried a different tone now. Respect, wariness, and something that might have been fear. She didn't mind. Earth had taught humanity that respect was earned, not given, and sometimes the best way to earn it was to show exactly why their little rock had produced a species tough enough to reach the stars. In the infirmary, as Vextar's exoskeleton was being repaired, he asked the medic a quiet question. "How many humans are there?" "Approximately 12 billion on their home world, with colonies spreading rapidly," the medic replied. Vextar's mandibles clicked in what his species considered deep thought. 12 billion Deathworlders, each potentially capable of what they'd just witnessed. Perhaps the galaxy needed to reassess more than just humanity's combat rating. Perhaps they needed to reassess everything.